Everyone and their moms are creating social media marketing agencies that create content for you and ultimately remove all the excuses as to why you can't become like a thought leader or something like that over on social media. To generate leads with content, it's a great offering, but there comes a lot of problems with it. Everyone looks at how much you could charge for it, and you can charge a lot. In only 6 months, I was able to create an agency that was making $30K a month every single month, and it sounds great. Except for one day I woke up and I realized, I looked at my bank account and everyone in the company was making more money than me. This is a major problem considering the whole reason why I did this was to generate more income in my business, but also to have more financial freedom. I didn't have that. Not to mention, to make things even worse, personal freedom was out the freaking window. I had no time to myself because there was chaos all over the business. So in this video, I'm going to be doing something that I probably should have done a long time ago, which is do a breakdown of all the things to watch out for when you're creating an agency. The 4 pitfalls that if you do not avoid, you will be like me and only a year after launching your agency, decide to shut it all down and start all over. So let's start with pitfall number 1, not having a reliable sales system. So when I was first doing this, LinkedIn, and it still is, was my main lead generator. I would DM people on LinkedIn, drive them to a one-on-one call with me, and at that point, I would close them, we'd get a new client. The downside to this is 2 things. 1, eventually, more and more marketers found out about LinkedIn and why the DMs work so well and the platform itself. So because so many marketers were doing the same thing that I was doing, it stopped working as well. I was spending a lot of time trying to generate leads through LinkedIn, getting them to a sales call, but they weren't really that qualified. So that system broke down really, really quickly, and then I stopped doing sales. The other problem of not having a really reliable sales system is that by doing this, reaching out in the cold DMs, is you're capturing the 1% of people that know they have a problem and they know that you can solve it. And that 1% goes away really quickly. What I should have done anyway, and what you should do if you're planning on doing an agency, is make sure that you're constantly making content that's attracting people to your agency. That way, you're a little more reliable and creating lead magnets, etc., that can drive people to that, so you can know if I do paid ads, for example, which I think is probably a better system. If I do paid ads and I get X amount of people in my lead magnet, I know Y will spit out the back end. I have a certain amount of sales calls to do, which will lead to a certain amount of clients. That's a proven sales system that you'll know and be able to track, whereas what I was doing wasn't really reliable, nor was it something that I could track all that well. The other major problem with the way that I was doing sales was that I was doing all the sales, which means that if I took my foot off the pedal on the sales side, we would not have as many sales come in because I had to, right? As the CEO, I was bouncing back and forth between fulfillment and sales. I was doing the sales calls, but then I would turn around and I would actually have to do some of the fulfillment. This was a major problem because at one point when we got to 30K in revenue, I was doing a lot of the fulfillment. I was meeting with the clients a lot, which means I didn't have a lot of time for sales. So when somebody canceled, guess what? I didn't have somebody to replace them. This was a major problem. So pitfall number 1 you have to avoid is not having a proven sales system, which then brings me to pitfall number 2, not having an automated onboarding experience or fulfillment experience. So I was using this platform called Keep at this time, but I wasn't really using it, if you know what I mean. Like I was using maybe 5% of what it was capable of doing. Keep is a business automation tool. It's like a CRM, except for it's way more intense. It allows you, based on what they click on and what they opt into, to be able to send them certain information. Had I known this before, I would have definitely used it. The major thing that I would have done is if they enroll, have that onboarding experience automated. They get certain emails, they can log into certain things, they get everything they need, and they don't have to use me to reach out to and do all that. All right, back to the automation. So what was happening, and this was a major problem, people would enroll, and then I would have to reach out to them, get them an appointment with us to do their onboarding call, and then they would send us their content. Because remember, this is a social media marketing agency. So we would have them send us content, we would edit it, and then we would put it on their subsequent, platforms, whatever it needed to be. The problem is the client didn't know automatically where we were at the process. So they're wondering, hey, where's all my stuff? And simultaneously, we're busy working and having to reach out to them. And sometimes we forget. The beautiful thing about automating a system like this is that during that project time, they can be updated what's going on. So here's what I'm doing, by the way, now that's a little bit different, which is going to solve this all together. So I'm going to be using Notion in conjunction with Keep. So Notion is a project tracker that you can, well, Notion's a lot of things, but one of the things you could do is have it be a project tracker. And what I'm doing is if a project moves to, let's say, ready to publish, then it'll kick off an automation inside Keep to notify the client that it's ready to do it. And it'll send them the proper links to go ahead and download what they need to so they can post it themselves or do it, whatever they need to do. The point is, our team does not have to update anybody. The system is doing it for us. Work smarter, not harder. And this is the major pitfall that I see in a lot of agencies. They're doing a lot of manual work and actually getting updates to their clients. They're having to reach out to people. There's another thing for getting payments. Keep allows you to do recurring payments. And if they don't pay, then you can set up a sequence to get them to update their credit card and all that. So that way all of that is automated. This is pitfall number 2, not having an automated system. You absolutely have to, especially the bigger you get in your agency. Now, pitfall number 3 is a big one. I was thinking too much about how and not enough about who. So there's a really great book that I love and adore called Who Not How. The title gives it away. The concept is you stop thinking so much about how to do things and you focus more on who can solve that problem for you. Who's the right employee, who's the right consultant, whatever you need. The problem that I was having was that as we were building things, I was the who. I was the person that had to give the ideas to the client, had to meet with the client to give them the know-how of what to record, when to record it, and do all of that. And because of that, I had to meet with all the clients, which then meant that like I said earlier, I couldn't do the sales stuff. So having a right who that could have replaced me in this, whether it's the sales side or the fulfillment side, would have been a game changer. And so as you're building your agency, and at first, maybe you have to do a lot. You have to do the sales calls, the lead gen, and you got to do the fulfillment. But as soon as you start to get a little bit of clients, you get a little bit of money, the important thing to do is to find the right who to replace you and the thing that you don't like the most. Like for me, fulfillment takes a lot of time and my time's better spent on the sales side. So the first thing I should have done was hire someone that could really work on the clients on the ideation side. Editing and all that was taken care of by somebody else. But the actual ideation of what to record, when to record it, what's the offer they're building, all of that, I should have replaced myself with a who a lot sooner than I did. The other part of this too is if you're the opposite of me and you're like, you know what, I can't stand doing sales. I don't want to do sales. Well, there's tons of different people you can hire for sales. You can get somebody to do the sales so you can just spend the time doing what you really enjoy, which is the fulfillment. The thing that I think we forget a lot is when we're starting a business like this, part of it is because we love doing it, yes. The other part of it is money. The other part is personal freedom, meaning that if you don't want to spend 60 hours a week working, you have to find the right who. This brings me to like a sub point to the who not how, which is you have to get really good at transferring your knowledge. When you get the right who, there's a really good chance that you have to explain your brand, you have to explain how you do things, you have to explain some things to them. And it's really important that you have a really good system to transferring that knowledge to them, because it doesn't matter who you get. And I've run this problem before where I would hire somebody and I'd be really disappointed about their results and how they're dealing with things. Well, that's not a them problem, that's a me problem. I didn't explain my expectations right away. So the other part of who not how is making sure you have a really good way of transferring that knowledge to them. So pitfall number 3 is you got to stop thinking how and start thinking who. So last but not least, and I need you to hear me, this is why I'm real close to the camera right now, because it's really important. Pitfall number 4 is charging too low. So look, I get what you're thinking. There's a lot of agencies out there, and if you want to be competitive, you need to have competitive pricing. The truth is, the way to get completely out of that competitive mindset, to get away from everybody else and go blue ocean, is to charge high ticket. I know most people talk about this, but I don't think they're talking about it in the same way. So yeah, if somebody out there in the agency world is charging $500, charging $1,000 maybe is not going to do it. Charging $5,000 would. The truth is, you don't want 10 million clients. You want as many clients as it necessary. They're really great clients. You love working with them. They don't hassle you about little things. They trust you. They follow your strategy. They execute. All of these things come when you charge a little bit more. The funny thing is, I had a buddy, Evan Carmichael, told me this the other day. He said a customer paying you $300 a month, you're going to give them the same exact advice probably as if they're paying you $10,000. So you might as well go and get the $10,000 client, because the more important thing is the $10,000 a month client is probably going to execute, which means they'll get better results. So if you want to change the type of client you're getting, get a better quality client, and not to mention don't feel jaded when you're doing all this work for a client for a little bit amount of money, charge a little bit more. The other thing that I want to mention here is social media marketing agencies is we're really relying on editing. But the truth is, at this point, as of this filming of this video, editing is becoming a commodity. Here's what I mean. You can get a really decent editor for not a lot of money. Editing, you can even have AI do it at this point, and it does a pretty darn good job. The truth is, you can't go out there and ask somebody to drop $5,000 for editing, because they know they can find it for cheaper. So what is the thing that you can charge a lot more money for? Your strategy. It's the thing that really makes the thing work. You could have the best editing in the world, but if they don't ever film the content, guess what? The editing is not really worth the thing. So pitfall number 4 is charging way too low prices. If you really want to challenge, literally 10x what you're charging customers. I know that sounds crazy. I'm doing it right now. I launched the agencies at a certain amount, and I am literally 10xing what we're charging customers. What this has done is completely made me laser focused on what I'm looking for in terms of a client, but also too, we're getting better results. And it's not because we're doing anything different, it's because the quality of client is way different and they're willing to actually listen to us. It's amazing. You should try it. So like I said, those are the 4 pitfalls that I fell for. But the truth of the matter is, there's probably plenty more things I could have mentioned. So if you yourself have run an agency, drop your comments below. But even better than that, if you're thinking about starting an agency and you have questions, leave a comment at the bottom. If I can't answer it, I'm sure somebody that's watching this video can. And like always, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll catch you in the next video.